Hello and welcome to episode 122 of the Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony Chesson, and joining me this week, it's the other Spark on the pod. He's the scourge of the Crescent Isle. It's old Captain Black Sheep Thomas himself, Mr. James Thomas. Hello, sir.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. I still haven't found you yet in Sea of Thieves, the Captain Black Sheep Thomas.
Yes, yeah, he's lurking somewhere. After roaming the seas myself for a good week or two, I did have to go back and check with like the telemetry, the data that we pump out of it, going like, you did put me in there, didn't you? I am. Yeah, I think last time I looked, I'd been killed like 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 times or something like that.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. There's basically a leaderboard at work about who's been killed the most.
Oh, that is awesome. That is so cool.
And for those of you who don't know, so they've done a really nice thing in Sea of Thieves. To immortalise the developers, they have named enemy captains that you fight as the developers. So I've got Black Sheep Thomas, and then everyone who's worked on the game has got their own little captains floating around. So if the dice roll is kind enough, you could end up fighting yourself if you worked on it, which is nice.
That's so cool. What would you do if you came across yourself?
That's a good question. I think first thing I'd probably do is just try and screen grab it. Second time is probably just die meekly because I'm rubbish at the skeletons. I would probably just have to put myself to the sword whilst apologising profusely.
Sorry.
I'm sorry me.
A bit of a wave, a bit of a dance before you started, and then you would then take him out and steal his chest.
Yeah, hopefully someone else is in the crew with me and they can just follow us doing a Benny Hill dance around the island or something.
You could just go, I can't kill myself, you've got to do it for me.
You're going to have to do it. Just be gentle, just quick.
So hello sir, so how have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. Yeah, it's been a few weeks since we've been behind the mic, and I think the biggest thing since that, we've been on holiday to Dublin. After Sea of Thieves launch, we just needed to have a few days away, so we went over to Ireland. Never been over there before, and just decided to have a city break to have a bit of a chill. It was slightly disappointing in the sense that it was cold, grey and wet, which was exactly the same that we'd left back in Birmingham. But hey, it's what I'm told you have to expect of Ireland as a whole. But it was really good. It was really good because we just mooched around the city for 4 or 5 days. And I really like those sort of breaks because it's very low stress. Yes. You just get to go and have a poke around, take things at your own speed. So we did the usual, have a look for a few museums, look for retro shops, also look for a lot of places to eat. Mm-hmm. But the highlight for me was one of my friends at work, he lives over in Dublin. And I think when someone says, oh, we live over in Dublin, we can give you some tips. I imagine it the same as like, I live in London. Like it's a massive area, so you think they're just going to be somewhere else and you can't meet up. He lived like 10 minutes cycle away from where we were.
Oh, right.
And he invited us on the Sunday to go and see the Gaelic football match at Croke Park, which was incredible. Like, there's so many things in the guidebooks about the museums and the theatres and like the monuments around, but I actually get to go to something so quintessentially Irish, and I guess you wouldn't have the opportunity to go and see that very often. You have to be there on the right time and the right day. Yes. And it was the final. It was like one of the finals.
Oh, wow.
So, I think it was like the equivalent of the League Cup, so like the lower tier of the trophy, so there were still tickets to get. But it was superb. I love watching weird sports like that. And I apologise for weird. It's weird in the sense that I had no idea what was going on for most of it. And so we were there for the first half just staring with a slight confused face while Kieran and his dad just chipped in with rules about when the ball stopped or what have you. But for anyone who hasn't seen Transworld Sport or Gaelic football, Gaelic football is like football crossed with rugby crossed with basketball, so that you have to hold the ball, and you can run around with it. And after 3 or 4 steps, I think it is maybe 5, you have to either punch the ball up in the air and re-catch it, and then next time you have to kick it back up in the air and catch it. So you can go and run the length of the entire pitch, but you've got to be constantly like poking and kicking. And to pass it, you have to punch the ball to someone else. And then when you get near the goal, you can either score it in the net, like traditional football, for 3 points, or you can kick it rugby style over the post for 1 point. And it was just fascinating. It was just honestly fascinating to see what the tactics were, the ebb and flow, the counterattacks, because I like team sports. I watch ice hockey, I watch American football. I'll watch anything if there's like a team game going on. If it's on in the corner of a pub, Ali knows she's lost me for about 2 hours while I just stare at it. But to see it so up close, it was superb. It was a highlight of the trip, just seeing something so off the beaten track, away from the guidebooks. It's superb.
That sounds amazing. It sounds. I've never watched Gaelic football, but that sounds awesome and bonkers at the same time. But it just sounds very cool. So is there an advantage of kind of kicking it over the post to get a 1 point rather than kind of getting it in for 3?
There's still a goalkeeper,
right? Oh, okay.
There's still defenders,
right.
So it's you've still got to battle through the rest of the team. I guess it's the same like most sports. Like you can have a shot on goal if you've got the breakaway or the space.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed that I think our game finished up something like 19-16, and so it was right down to the wire. You know, 3 points in it. But most of the players seem to be taking shots from about 20 yards to get it over the posts. Mm-hmm. But you also saw some players who couldn't kick for toffee. And I guess it's the same. You can't expect 15 people to be able to nail it from like 40, 50 yards or so. But yes, a few people just like completely shanking it. And so they've obviously got the people who they just pass to and slot it over, like Wilkinson in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that just sounds so cool. So did you do the customary Guinness tour?
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Of course. We've been round a fair few beer brewery museum exhibits, I think, over our time. Ali even did an internship at the brewery museum when it was in Burton.
Right.
And so we've seen how different ones do it, and I was just impressed on the sheer scale of Guinness. Because the amount of punters they get through, this was effectively an exhibition that you could probably walk around in about 20 minutes. But because they have thousands of people going there every day, it was just on an epic scale.
Right.
Like whole rooms were dedicated to going, this is hops. That was pretty much it. Hops
Any
the very thing you had to be.
Yeah.
Whole room dedicated to like, this is hops, look at it. But it was really good, actually. I thought it was worth a visit, and it's got a really nice bar at the top of it that you get to see the grey wet sights of the Dublin skyline. But we did get to pour our own pint of Guinness as
that's
well,
superb.
which was it's cheesy, but if you're gonna have a free pint with your ticket, you might as well pour it yourself.
Yes,
it was good fun.
It's good for a photo.
Yes,
it's good for a photo op.
It works really well with a Game Boy camera, that drink, as well.
Oh, I bet, yeah, because you've just got the black and white as well, so I bet it really does come out.
That's good. It was the first pint of Guinness Ali's ever had as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, she's ruined it now. That's it. Any other Guinness is just not going to taste the same, is it?
Yeah, from the Birmingham Canal water. No, not quite the same.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah, how have you been? What have you been up to, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. We finished our trawl through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so we have now done all 18 Marvel movies, so which we're quite happy with.
Nice.
So we are a week. Actually, this time next week, I would have seen Infinity War.
Really?
Yes, I'm going to the
midnight
midnight
you got a
showing.
Thursday ticket?
Yeah, no, I've got Wednesday at midnight, so 5 past midnight on Wednesday, Thursday morning. I will be seeing Infinity War on my own. I'm going solo because Nicola just said no. So it was like, and so Nicola said no. But it's quite cool because I booked the ticket. I ummed and ahed whether I was going. I think I was talking about it on the last pod with Stuart, and so I ummed and ahed whether I was going to go. But I was like, nope, I've got to go. Spoilers for this movie just seem to be they're hovering, they're circulating. I'm already kind of just ignoring.
Did you reckon there's spoilers?
Yeah.
Is there spoilers out there?
No, I don't think there's spoilers out there, but you just, because it's the big movie, whenever I'm looking at my feeds and I'm looking at you Bleeding Cool or Superhero Hype or any of those ones that are in my feeds, they have probably 2 or 3 Marvel Infinity War stories a day, and then today's one was fans are nervous, so everyone's trying to find what the thing is. With the Russo brothers, I think, as I mentioned last week, or the last pod, they're being very protective over it, and I do feel that there's a lot of people being just circulating around, and the moment that first showing happens,
sharks are circling
exactly,
just waiting for spoiler blood.
Indeed, and the first showing, you just know that that's going to ripple around the internet quite quickly, and I think it's going to happen. There was a couple of people that I follow on Twitter got to see part of it in in a showing in London, and they were being very going in. They were like, "Oh, I'm going to see it. Oh, I can't wait!" And then coming out, they went, "It's amazing. There's this," and I was like, instant unfollow.
Yep.
You know, it's like I'll follow you again.
Yep.
You know, I'll follow you again when I've seen it. You know, then I'll kind of go back.
So what's going to be your tactic for the next week? Because you say you're afraid of spoilers. Are you going to go dark from the weekend? Like, can you just cut all these comic feeds, these cinema feeds out of your life for 7 days to make your life easy? Or are you just going to chance it and hope the people that you still follow are good, upstanding citizens following the code?
Yes, I think Monday and Tuesday, I think I would just can resume my kind of normal Twitter RSS feeds kind of looking in the morning, in the afternoon, you know, and in the evening. I will continue that. Wednesday, I think I'm just going to go dark on then, you know, because I've got to go into London. I'm hosting a whole day workshop in London, so I'm busy from like 7:30 to 6:30. I'm busy, so I'm occupied. So I just feel as if I do for the rest of that evening. If I just avoid anything for the rest of that evening, then at midnight I'm off to Blue Water to see it at the X Plus. So that's my tactic. That's my tactic. Monday and Tuesday. If I start seeing things that I'm not happy with, then on Tuesday, then I'll probably just dip away. But I think when we see it, when the kind of midnight, I think they're kind of the first showings. I think it might be kind of almost midday Wednesday or even early Wednesday when people are going to start posting reviews and things like that. I think there's a premiere happening kind of Wednesday, early morning, like 3 a.m. our time, like UK time.
Nice.
So that's my tactic. So I've booked X Plus on the night. I've been backwards and forwards with my local Showcase Cinema over Twitter, and they're quite annoying because I'm trying to book the Saturday for Nicola, you know, because I said I'm going, I won't spoil it, I won't say anything about it, but we'll go on Saturday. So we always go in early morning, and they've had for a couple of weeks they've had IMAX and a 2D in their gallery. They have a gallery thing. And I've been saying, right, when are you going to put it in X Plus? When can I pre-book X Plus? And they're like, Tuesday, next Tuesday you'll be able to do it. So literally from Tuesday to today, I've been kind of refreshing the page every now and then. When I'm on a conference call, I've been refreshing Showcase Cinema. Nothing, you know, it's not there for the weekend. So I messaged them again. I'm like, this still hasn't happened. What? And they messaged me back today and basically just said, we've had a chat about it. We've had a couple of calls, and we're not putting it into X Plus on that weekend. So I was like, A, you're crazy. This is the biggest movie, love it or hate it, it's the biggest movie of the year.
What are they going to put in instead?
I don't know. Peter Rabbit, maybe. Screen? I don't know. Maybe they're just not. Maybe they're just not running X Plus for that weekend, you know, because
it's private staff showings the entire weekend, Antony.
I bet you. Honestly, I'm going to just start working at Showcase Cinema. So they have. So they've not. So I've basically booked IMAX, and so I haven't got my normal kind of arse groove seats. But because it was really weird, because this afternoon there was a new trailer for Deadpool 2 dropped. So I watched that, and I was like, well, I wonder if I can book those. And I doubt it if I can't book Infinity War yet. And there they were. So I booked my Saturday early morning X Plus Deadpool 2 done, and that's why I tweeted back to Showcase Cinema to just say, you know, what's happening here, guys? You know what?
Because when's Deadpool out?
Deadpool is out the 19th of May.
Okay, so there's a whole 2 weeks gap between the two movies.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think after the week after that, you've got Solo.
Oh my God!
So this is my summer. This is why.
This is your time.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I'm glad that Nicola doesn't like sunny holidays or hot climes, because in the summer every Saturday is movie Saturday. You know, it's awesome. It's so
God,
good.
If it's anything like the weather today, just the thought of being in a nice, cool, dark room, possibly with air conditioning and a cold drink.
Yes.
I could sip that. That's good.
So yeah, so that's what's been. So we finished MCU. I ranked them on Letterboxd, which was the app that I've got. You can create lists and stuff like that. So I ranked all
top three.
Top three were, I think I can remember off the top of my head, but I'm just going to fire up the app. It was Guardians of the Galaxy, the very first one that came in at number 1. So that was our favourite. Then it was. I'm just trying to find it. Why can't I find it? Then it was. So it was then Thor Ragnarok was number 2, and Avengers Assemble in the UK, but Avengers was number 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
But Thor Ragnarok is still stuck with me just because of the bizarre, over-the-top, brash approach of it all, and it's very funny, very funny. Do you ever find when you rate movies you have to let them settle for a while? I mean, it's been a couple of months since, I guess, Thor came out.
Yes.
But you almost go, that was amazing, but I just need to give it space to see where it sits in the lists.
Absolutely. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was kind of very much evident of that, because when I came out of that, I was like, this movie's incredible. When we rewatched it, it's kind of down towards the bottom.
Okay.
Because we felt that after watching all those movies kind of back to back and seeing the MCU grow, that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is really a kind of almost a Guardians of the Galaxy by numbers. You know, they had the cute Groot dance bit, this bit, and they argue a lot as well. You know, I love Guardians of the Galaxy as a comic book. I've been a big fan for a long time. So to see them in a movie, the first one was incredible. But in this one, they're just arguing and bickering all the time. It's a very angry movie to watch. You know, so
it's weird what they homed in on then at that point, because I got the feeling the same with Avengers 2. Avengers. It just seemed to be, here we go again.
Yes.
It didn't seem to be as much...
That should have been the subtitle. Avengers. Here we go again. But so it was quite interesting. Doctor Strange was one of the biggest upsets in our list, and it was second to bottom.
Huh.
So,
which I'm guessing from that, though, you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it the first time round.
Yeah. But, I mean, when you rank these movies, they are 17 awesome movies and Hulk. But they are, you know, they are really good movies. So when you say that this one is kind of bottom, it's 18 good movies, you know. It's like...
I guess it's like how they rank Pixar movies, isn't it? It's like there was a point where the worst Pixar movie was still better than 90% of other animated films out there.
Yes. Well.
And then cartoons happen.
Yeah. And then that's just the worst. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was really cool. So we've done that. We are ready. You know, we kind of, I think it was over the Easter weekend or something, where we watched a couple. You know, we were like, oh, should we watch Civil War? Should we watch this? And we ended up kind of getting in front, because we were supposed to be watching Ragnarok this week, but we're in front of ourselves. So we are ready. We're ready to go.
Nice.
Primed. So I can't wait. I'm very excited. I share the excitement with Wee Man. I know we were chatting just a minute ago this evening. Both of us are incredibly excited men, children, and we are just really excited for this movie. And I can't wait to see it. I'm glad I'm seeing it twice as well, because I'm going to be very sleepy, I'm guessed, towards the end, like being at a midnight showing.
Oh, the adrenaline will carry you through.
Yes.
If you're that excited, especially if it's coming to a conclusion, because it's a one-parter, isn't it? It's not like Harry Potter or Hunger Games. Like this final part is one film, not A and B.
Well, we don't know, because originally, way back when Marvel said, here's all of our movies up until 2020, they had Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2.
Ooh.
But what they've now done is there's another Avengers movie coming out in May 2019, so next year, directed by the Russo brothers, possibly still starring lots of people while they had lots of people available, but no one knows what the title is.
Okay, so it could either be what do they call, like a conclusion, an epilogue, 5 years later type thing,
yes.
Or it could be the exciting climax.
Yes, exactly. Or it could just be, you know, the return of Galactus, or X-Men Strike Back, you know, whatever. It could. There's definitely something they're hiding in a subtitle, because it's the only kind of untitled movie kind of in that rostrum. So it's very interesting.
Everyone just hands their masks over to the next actors they've signed up.
yeah, exactly. It's like, your turn. So yes, I have some theories, but I won't share them just in case they are spoiler. They do come, but I do worry for Captain America.
Oh, okay.
I do worry for Captain America. But then again, right. So that's enough. We'll stop talking before I blabber on anymore. I think that's it. I think that's really kind of me. I was like, the MCU was quite a big one. Booking all of those. Really looking forward to those. So James, what have you been playing this week?
We should probably get it out of the way now, because it sounds very self-aggrandizing. But I have actually been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves.
What is this game that you talk about?
What is this game? What is this tiny indie development? Yeah, I've got a track record of not really playing the games I work on.
Right.
And so it's actually surprised me how much I have played of Sea of Thieves. Like, there gets a point where you work on something for so long that you're just, like, no matter how much you love the development and how much you love the community and love everything about it, that you have just seen it enough that you do not want to immerse your own personal free time in it. And I think I said that to you when you guys were playing some of the beta, like, I can't. Like, I'm too elbow deep in this. I can't.
Yes.
I can't touch this. But a lot of the stuff that I've been doing for the past few months has been at arm's reach from the actual gameplay side of things.
Right.
So there's been a lot of infrastructure and behind the scenes stuff. So actually, when it came out, and you were playing it, and Matt was playing it, and a whole load of our WhatsApp group were playing it, it's like, I can do this. I can actually jump in, and you lot have actually pulled me through and actually helped me see different sides of it, and that's the joy, because I think during the first couple of weeks there were probably 6, 7, 8 of us playing in rotation, and so depending on who was on that evening or who was free that afternoon, you tended to get a crew of 4 completely different people, which they brought their own personality, their own take, their own skew to it all, and so it meant that every voyage was different, not just from what happened in the world, but from the people that we sailed with. And I really don't want to. This is not. I swear. Like, this is not supposed to be a sales pitch, but I am genuinely excited that I enjoy a game I've worked on.
Yes.
Like, it happens far too infrequent. Like, Viva Pinata was the last one that I loved this much. And it's just made it all so much more worthwhile in that sense. And the stories, like even on the WhatsApp group, the stories that you see coming up, because I think it was one time late at night, there was me, my friend Steve, and my friend Rob. We were just sailing. Like, it was ridiculous o'clock in the morning, but we'd all just been up, and we were just all trying to get, one more chest. Just one more chest. And we were sailing back towards the outpost to hand everything in. And we'd just fought off some other pirates, and so our ship was a bit battered or so, and we're sliding into port, ready to go. And then the sea goes black, and like the ship shudders to a halt, and then out of the water there's this giant tentacle comes out, and Karen the Kraken is just there, and we're like, no, we're so close to handing everything in. Within about 60 seconds, Karen is basically... Sorry, we call the Kraken Karen because reasons. Karen has sucked up and got Rob and Steve in her tentacles, just holding them above the ship. She's knocked me off the ship, so I'm just flailing in the water miles away. And then she wraps around the ship itself, pulls it out of the water and starts crushing it. So we're all away from the ship. The ship is taking on water, and we just run back as soon as we can, like swim back as fast as we can. And there's me and Steve just bailing, and it's just it just doesn't work. Like, it's too far gone. So the ship sinks, and then we've got about 15 different chests in the water, and we're miles from an island.
Oh, no.
In the end, I think Karen ends up killing Rob, so Rob spawns back at a different island with a new ship.
Yeah,
and there's I think then Steve drowns himself so he can go and respawn on the ship, and there's me just trying to drag as many chests as I can to the nearest rock in the middle of the ocean, and it's like it turns into from this sailing adventure into a rescue mission.
Oh my God.
Where it's like against time, so we've got to go and touch all the chests before they sink to the bottom of the ocean, try and drag them back. It was just frantic, and at 2 a.m, when you're ready to go to bed, you just get this adrenaline burst of gaming energy at this point. So I was just there staring at the ceiling for another hour after I went to bed.
Oh my God, that's so cool. It was so good to read the next morning, and you're like, it was both all of you. You were like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and you were like, oh my God. And it was like about 3 a.m, wasn't it? I think when you finished, it was like, it was incredible.
Oh, it was worth it. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. So like playing solo or playing with friends, and yeah, you can get the odd quiet voyage, but like usually when we're grouping up, there's something always happens that means there's a right home moment for it.
Like Manny just taking out a ship as it passed us, a friendly ship, just shooting at it, and then we had that was really cool, wasn't it? Because we then had 2 guys. That were from another ship, just basically boarded our ship, and then we just went sailing for another one that we saw on the horizon, and there was like 6 of us, and it was really good. But there was a little bit nerve-wracking for them, because if they died, they would obviously be spawned onto another ship rather than ours, and it was really cool, because first of all, Manny had to apologise for shooting at them.
Twitchy finger Manny, yeah.
And then I think because before I joined, I think they'd stolen some of your loot, I think, as well, previously.
Yes.
So they checked in one of your chests, hadn't they?
Yeah. I don't even know how they got on board at one point. So like you turn around, there's someone jumping off the side of a ship with a chest. Like, Well, I can't even see where his ship is. What's happened here?
So, but then they joined. They were like, "Whoa, we're friendly." And then, thankfully, we were in game chat, because I think that's one of the best things that I've learned also from playing with Nicola is make sure you're in game chat rather than being in a party. Be in game chat, because you can hear things like that. Like those guys were like, "Well, we're friendly. Let's all kind of sail together." And we were like, "Okay." We all started playing our instruments, and off we sailed. It was great. It was a glorious thing.
We moved like greased lightning through the water as well, wasn't it? Like someone steering, someone directing, everyone on sails, just getting the maximum from. And then we fought another ship in a storm, didn't we? At that point in time, that was epic.
It was just so much fun. It was just really cool. Yeah. I mean, it was really interesting because, like, on contrast to that, I played with Nicola. We played on, I think it was not last Sunday, Sunday before, and we were there. So we were doing some of the quests where you had to get a chicken, for that.
Oh yes.
So we were doing some of those quests, and we managed to get a couple of chicken coops, and then we went off to Chicken Isle. So we kind of plot a course to Chicken Isle. We thought that's where we get our chickens. We'll get chickens and Chicken Isle. So we plotted a course, and then from the far distance, a galleon spotted us and did not leave us alone for 45 minutes. We kept trying to hide. We were saying we're friendly, we've only got coops, but they just kept coming. They just kind of kept following us, and they weren't happy until they sunk us. But the great thing was they kind of got on, and you could hear them go, "Oh, they're over here, let's get." And then all they had was 2 empty coops. That was it. There was no treasure. We'd only just started, but it was like 45 minutes of adrenaline rush of just trying to get out their way, and then wherever we went, they seemed to just be able to catch up with us for some reason. They must have been really kind of angling the sails, because at some point the galleon just caught up with our sloop and really did just kind of they just rammed us, and then they
did a number.
It was all over. It was all over after that. But it was just we hope you're happy with our coops. We're just okay. It was just but it was.
You get really crap chickens with them.
Yeah. We didn't even have a chicken. We hadn't even started, so we were just But it was just, we only wanted to jump on for an hour while we were cooking or something, and we were and we ended up spending 45 minutes just being chased. But it was still so much fun. It was awesome fun. But I think you're absolutely spot on. It's great kind of jumping on with you, because you can kind of see things that that maybe you haven't tested for. It's just all these brand new stories, this chaos that happens when you just let people kind of loose on the seas, and it's always fun. I never come away from a session without a huge grin on my face. There's always a fun session. Even that one being chased, I was laughing because Nicola was getting angry. She went really angry. She's like, that's it, because I think at one point they killed her. She respawned on the ship, and then she was like, that's it, I'm going to kill her. And she killed both of them, and then when she was on the Voyage of the Damned, they were pointing and doing like that at her, and she just walked to the other end of the Voyage of the Damned because she didn't want anything to do with them. So she just walked to the other end, and it was just so much fun.
Nice.
So yes, we must continue, because there's new stuff as well, isn't there now?
Yeah. So being drip fed out. I will let other people promote it in that sense. I will hold off on that one. But yeah, we're keeping on putting stuff out. We're still working on it. So.
Yes, it's absolutely fantastic. So apart from the awesome Sea of Thieves, what else have you been playing?
I've been dabbling with Kirby on the Switch.
Yes.
Anyone who knows me knows that Kirby is one of my favourite Nintendo characters, and I've always liked him for his versatility. Just the bizarre things that Nintendo have done with him over the years, like turn him into a crazy golf game, the paintbrush, where it turned into. There was, I can't remember, one of my favourite ones was where they made Kirby have 10 of him.
Right.
And there was just this bubbling ball of this wave of Kirby's just streaming through a land at that point. And it was lots of challenges about how you do with all of them. And this Kirby is a bit more traditional. This goes back to the platforming roots that he came from. And so it's a very, very traditional, Kirby walks along, he sucks up an enemy, and he can take on those powers, so you can absorb the power of flaming swords or little magic whips, or even just turn yourself into a wheel and roll through the level itself. And I've always found these versions of Kirby pleasant without being overly excited by them, because at the end of the day because Kirby can fly as well, the platforming isn't always the most testing.
Yes.
Shall we say?
Yes.
Like you know my thoughts on Mario Odyssey, where I wanted more platforming.
Yes, yeah.
And I think this then goes like, well, there's a lot of platforming, but actually getting through it is quite easy. So it relies on a lot of the puzzles, the branching paths, the boss fights, and they're all good. They're all good. But the gimmick in this one is that it's effectively a 4-player game. So 4 of you can take part, and Kirby can befriend some of the enemies. So rather than absorbing them, he throws a heart at them and they join your side, and there's 4 of you muddling along. So Ali's joined me in a bit of a co-op, and we've got 2 AI buddies coming along with us. And it's fun, and you can probably hear from the hesitations that it's... like everything is good.
Yes.
Everything is good and colourful and bright and fun and cheery. But because the platforming isn't that interesting, there's a lot of Kirby has come down to, can I fight my way through in an interesting way? But when you have, especially single player, when you have 3 AI characters just beating the living crap out of everything you come along, like as soon as anything gets near, it's like and like this, it might as well be one of those cartoons where there's a ball of like dust and an enemy's hat rolls out the other side of it or something. It's just a bit too chaotic, and I'm going to carry on playing it, and I do enjoy it because it is Kirby, but it just lacks something, and I can see what they've been going for. They've gone for that same aspect they did with like Yoshi's Woolly World back on the Wii U, where they've tried to make a co-op game from one of their characters, and I love that. I love the fact that Ali and I have actually been able to play, because I think it's Ali's first traditional Kirby game that she's played.
Right.
But after like half an hour, she said, I don't know what's happening. Like, I know I can jump, I know I can attack, but there's just noise on screen and I can't see what's going on. So I'm only a couple of worlds in. I'll carry on, but it feels like most of the Kirby games for me, where I enjoy it, but it's not the Kirby I want.
Yes.
I want them to do something absolutely crazy with it.
Yes.
So,
it's quite interesting you say that, because Nicola's been playing it as well. We went into London, so we took our Switches with us. I was playing Mario plus Rabbids, and she was playing Kirby. So I was like, when we got to the station, I was like, what do you think? You've been playing it. What do you think? It's great, isn't it? Are you enjoying it? Like that. And she was like, I'm getting through the levels. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's fun. And that was kind of the response. And it's kind of very similar to, I guess, what Ali was saying. It's like, I'm not really sure what's going on, but I can jump these things and bash these things. And that was kind of all that she said. I don't think she's been back to it since that trip, but it's kind of, it hasn't hooked her like the other Switch games has, I think.
It tries to have a replay value as well by, the Street Pass on the 3DS, where you can get the jigsaw pieces and create the pictures. It's got an approximation of that in here, so that you can go through levels, and by doing, like, finding certain chests or secrets and stuff, you earn jigsaw puzzles there, so you can fill in pictures. And I think that's the incentive to go back through when there's the odd hidden route. Right. But it is just lacking a spark, and I guess this is why Kirby gets to get away with being, a paintball or the canvas curse or anything like that, because his traditional means aren't so robust and beloved that he can just make a living on that. So it's like, let's try one of these. Yes. Okay, it's done all right. Now let's do something crazy. Let's try and twist him out again. But so Kirby, it's good. It's
a solid good from James Thomas.
It's the complete definition of a 7 out of 10 game in my mind.
Awesome, superb. What else have you been playing?
So the final thing that I've been playing this last couple of weeks has been Minit. And I actually only picked this up today and put an hour or so into it. So there was a lot of talk on some podcasts a couple of weeks ago about this, because it's a small indie game pushed out by Devolver Digital, and I've liked a lot of what Devolver have done. They tend to get some, I would say, more edgy or just more interesting indie games, ones that aren't quite cookie cutter, and so it passed me by. Heard good things about it, and honestly, it wasn't until this week advertising worked on me, Anthony. Right. Like, I don't know what they've done, but every time I logged onto my Twitter feed, there was the Minit post from Devolver just staring at me, going, "Get me."
It's finally working in your old age. It
has. I was having a conversation with Ali at the weekend, going, I don't know, like this. The Twitter ads are rubbish. I never do anything with them. Yeah. So, there's like I was taunting them. They've come out to try me.
They're like, is that what you think? They were listening to you. Is that what you think? Right. Deploy the Minit advert.
But so Minit is almost exactly what it says. You have a minute to try and complete your adventure. Mm-hmm. It's a really great aesthetic. It's a monochrome version of the original Game Boy. Everything is just two colours, black or white, and it's really, really blocky and pixely. And so on a 4K telly, it's sort of like real stark. But it reminds me really much of Link's Awakening,
right.
Again back on the Game Boy, because it's a top-down adventure RPG type thing. Mm-hmm. But it's the first thing you do is pick up a sword and wave it above your head,
right.
or the first thing you find. So it's like very Zelda in that respect.
Yes.
But the mechanic is, after 60 seconds of wandering around, you die.
Right.
That's it. You go back to the start. You reset. Everything goes back to normal, except you keep the items that you've got.
Right.
And if you've done certain things in the world, like if you've reconstructed a bridge, say, that will stay permanent.
Right.
So it's almost like that sort of roguelike approach where you have some permanence, so that means that these quick replay values are there because you can make some progress before resetting and starting again. And so it leads into two really fascinating approaches for me. One is that you're always trying to do something pertinent. Mm-hmm. Like you haven't got time to just sit there and ponder. Mm-hmm. You need to book it somewhere and try and do something. And you have different homes, different starting points from around the world.
Oh, okay.
So you can find another starting location to make life easier. But the other thing is, like, some of the puzzles, some things persist, and so there are certain aspects that I'll try not to spoil that take multiple lives to try and do, or are so time critical, like you just need to go there and do nothing but that.
Yes.
And it's really like I found a man who slowly talks at you, and you're there just wanting to get him by the neck and just speed up. And so, like, it's just really interesting. The first thing you have to do is run out your door, run to this old man and go, okay, I'm listening, come on.
So you spend that life just listening to what he had to say, pretty much. That sounds so cool.
There's a few different occurrences of that, because you know that most of the puzzles either have to be done in stages or in 60 seconds. So there's not this massive grand plan that you might be missing. So many things are just there.
Yeah.
But it's just... the concept, as anything else, has really hooked me. So I'm looking forward to putting some more time into that.
That sounds so cool. That sounds so fresh and such a great idea. What are you playing that on?
The Xbox.
Oh, right.
The Xbox.
Oh, right.
I think it was $7.99. Because I think I said to you earlier off air, but I haven't got much time this weekend to invest in something like God of War.
Yes.
Whereas this is almost the complete opposite. It's like, I've got 60 seconds. I can have a game of Minit.
That's so cool. That sounds like it would be really good on the Switch.
Yes, yeah. Sadly, I think it's only on PC, Xbox, and PS4.
Yeah.
But you're right. It would be perfect for that.
Yes.
And it's one of the nice things as well is like the restart is instant.
Right.
I think due to the graphical fidelity, shall we say, it's just easy for you to walk back to the start and everything kicks back to the beginning.
Wow. So I love that. So you're kind of getting around the world because, as you say, you've got different homes. So that's your next starting point is like home number 2 or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds so.
So
cool.
like I've made my way into a desert and there's a camper van up there.
Yeah.
And there's a hotel somewhere that I found. So it's
that sounds so cool. That sounds like such a great, like I say, it seems like a really quick game to play because you can go, right, I'm just going to, in this session, I'm just going to do this, this, and this, and that's it.
Yeah.
That could just take you 10 minutes, and that's like, because you've got to be so on it all the time.
Yeah, it's the kind of game as well that I would really love to see like a GDC panel or a Game of Sutra post-mortem on, because I guess like I'm assuming like the concept came up first. And then trying to refine like traditional RPG adventure mechanics down into a just such a pared down state that they work in that environment. It's just fascinating to me that something like that it's just so polished and tight. It's fantastic.
That sounds so good. That sounds fantastic. Superb. So that's what you've been playing this week?
It is indeed, yes. And what has been tickling your fancy?
Well,
please?
it's time to play that Batman Klaxon, because I've been playing Batman: The Enemy Within. So I was last week I was sick, which is why we didn't pod last week, unfortunately. But I was sick with man flu. There was a lot of it going around actually, but I was sick with man flu, so I had like 2 days, and the first day I just couldn't play anything. I felt so rough. But the second day I was just on the sofa under a duvet, and I remembered that I've got Batman: The Enemy Within. So I kind of, at the start, I was a bit tired, and I kept kind of going to sleep when it was at a prompt. So I'd be waking up, and my joypad would be rumbling away, and so after in the afternoon, I kind of perked up a little bit. So I was playing Batman: The Enemy Within. So I'd already got through, I think, 2 chapters, which I've spoken about. But there was now the entire rest of the series has now been released. So chapters 3 to 5 had all been released. So we was just ready to kind of, so it was ready for me just to kind of jump in and enjoy. And it's really interesting because I think the last Telltale Batman, I got to the end, and I think the last episode kind of let it down. But with this one, so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm 4 episodes in, so I've just started the 4th episode, and it's really good. The take on John Doe, who is eventually going to be the Joker, is incredible. You know, he's either your friend. Right now, he's kind of almost like a friend, like a needy friend. You know, he needs you there. He needs your advice. You're kind of giving him. I'm almost trying to stop him from being the Joker, because I'm giving him compliments. I'm encouraging him. I'm siding with him over. Don't
go that way, John. Don't.
Exactly. It's just like, I know you've got that rictus grin, but you don't need to be the Joker. So I'm really kind of, and it's really interesting because sometimes you go, I just can't agree with you here. I've got to do this. I've got to do that, and it's absolutely. But every kind of negative step you take, you just can see him kind of losing it and kind of getting closer and closer to this new take on the Joker. And you know, and coupled with that, and I'm also reading a 8-part series by Sean Murphy called Batman the White Knight, which is also about kind of the Joker being a reformed character. And kind of reading that and playing this, both of them are just, it's just really super interesting, and I'm just absolutely loving it. So at the moment, Enemy Within, I'm just really enjoying it. So I want to, over the weekend, as you were saying before, God of War is coming out on Friday. So I've already got from Boomerang, already got mine kind of coming, so that's my Friday night. But over the weekend, in the mid of car shopping and gardening, I want to try and finish Batman: The Enemy Within. I want to kind of get that. I want to get that done because I'm just really enjoying it. It's kind of one of those things I'm just like really. I was going to play it last night, but Nicola and I were a bit in kind of a. It was warm. It was and a new movie had come out called I Kill Giants, which I really wanted to watch. So I ended up putting Batman on the back seat to watch I Kill Giants, which is a fantastic movie. So I'm just itching to get back into it. So I've been really enjoying kind of Batman: Enemy Within. And
nice. Has Nicola been watching it with you, or as an extension to your superhero films, or is mainly she dips in and out?
No, because I played it when I was off sick, and I've kind of been playing it every now and then. She hasn't really watched this one. She has watched others. I think Borderlands. She loved kind of watching that. She watched some of Life is Strange, but I'm trying to get Nicola to play Life is Strange on her own and do her own Life is Strange. So Nicola's very interested in those kind of games at the moment. So I want to get her to watch to play Firewatch, to play Life is Strange, you know, those kind of narrative games. So that's so you know, she hasn't been watching this one too much. And you know, and I'm the biggest Batman fan in this household. I think she just puts up with it. I think she prefers Marvel at this point. But it's really interesting. It's really interesting game, and I'm just like really enjoying the take that they have on this almost a Suicide Squad, this kind of group, because Harley Quinn's in it now, and it's just a really, very interesting. I think they're called the Pact. So this is like Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Bane as well. So you've got all of these, you know, you've got your luchador in there, you know, and it's a really good kind of. The thing I love about Telltale is they are just spinning the Batman kind of mythos on its head, which is exactly what occasionally you get from a DC comic book as well. You know, they will do these things called Elseworlds back in the day, or they will just do something completely different, like a one-shot. And this is what it feels like. It feels like I'm playing a DC one-shot. So I'm really enjoying it.
Nice.
So yes, and then the last thing that's really been taking up my time, and a couple of nights of gaming on this, we've gone back to 2008, and we have been playing Gears of War 2, and then the reason why we've been playing Gears of War 2, as we'll get to in the news, we'll leave it in the news, but Gears of War 2 has had a 4K bump. And of course, I'll play anything that's had a 4K bump. But it was so funny. The news broke, and we'll talk more about the Xbox 4K games that are coming out later. But the news broke that Gears of War 2 was getting a 4K update on Xbox One X. So I downloaded it because I think I got a code, or it was free when I downloaded the Marcus Phoenix edition, or the re-release of the first one, the remaster of the first one. So I already had it there, it was already waiting, so I downloaded it. And then I checked my achievements, and I have 5 achievements left in Gears of War 2.
Okay.
Just 5. I have something like 1,300 achievements. I have one of them I'm never going to be able to get, and that's Seriously 2.0, and that is kill something like, I think it's like 2. Someone will know what it is, but I think it's like kill like 2 million enemies, and at the moment when it comes up, I am a quarter of because they do keep track of my saves. I've kept my saves, which is fantastic. They do keep track, and every now and then when you've killed maybe 100 grubs in horde mode, it will then go right. It will show you your progress, and my progress is just painfully minuscule.
So it's taken you 10 years to get 25% of the way there.
Exactly. The only person I know with Seriously 2.0 is Nicola. She's the only person I know who has this. So she just went full
Fair
guns
play.
on it. Yeah, she loved the Gears of War 2 when it came out, and she just went full blow on it. And she's got Seriously 2.0, which kind of really annoys me and her brother Brad as well. Both of us oh, we need it, and she has it, and it's just so. But what we're looking at is that there's level 100. I'm level 88 at the moment, and there's level 100. So we've been playing to try and kind of get up to kind of level 100 and get that achievement. So it was really cool. So myself, Nicola, her brother, and our 2 nephews, we all jumped on to Gears of War, which is great because my youngest nephew, Ed, he was too young when this first came out. He was probably 3, 4 at max. And now it's so, and Ed, and then William was probably Edward's age that he is now. So it was so we kind of almost had an evolution of the Dukes, and it was really funny because Ed had now filled William's footsteps of just running out there being gung-ho. It's like, Ed's down again, and we had to someone, I'm like, Brad, he's your son, he's your responsibility, you've got to go and revive him. And it was a real fun night with the nephews, so it was just really good fun, just kind of playing Gears of War 2, and it looks fantastic. It looks great anyway, and even when I'm playing on the 1X on the 1080p TV, it looks great. But on the 4K TV, it just looks amazing. And we'll get to the kind of wowing of the other games that they've done as well a bit later. But yeah. I was just so impressed when we fired it up. It was just like, how does this 10-year-old game just look this sharp?
That's impressive. I am I've seen. Well, I've heard of the process they have to go through to try and get some of these working, literally dipping down into the disassembly to try and poke and prod things to make it sure it works on modern machines. But the fact they can give it such a boost to the 4K, I guess if you're hacking it effectively to get the render output so high, it's a little more work. I don't know. I talk this with complete naivety. I'm sure it's just once you're in there, it's fine. Just set the render buffer to 4K. Yeah. It's good.
There's an INI file somewhere that has resolution.
You said tangent. Yeah. There was one time I was around Manny's, and I think it was when Just Cause 2 was out, and he was playing on his projector on the TV, and I think we found the settings INI file for that.
Oh, really?
And it did have the resolution in there. So at one point, we were trying to ramp it up to be as high resolution as it could go. So it was crawling frame rate. And then we flipped it the other way. It's like, imagine what this would be like on the Spectrum. Okay, 32 by 16 pixels.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. It still runs like that. It's beautiful, beautiful.
But I was really impressed. It was good to be back in Gears. It was good to be back, and it felt good as well. It's really funny because I think it's the same with like the Halo Master Chief Collection. And when you play old Halo, there's evolutions of the gameplay that you realise now you can't spot enemies. You can't do this with it. There's things that they've improved. And when you go back to a kind of an OG version of a game, because Gears of War was such a great game, it really made us laugh. So we've been playing some Horde. We're going to jump back on and play some multiplayer as well, because by all accounts, I don't know if they've got a bump now that this has happened, that more people will be on the multiplayer, but I think multiplayer was looking a little bit sparse for this game. But I don't know if it's got a little bit of a jump because it's 4K. But it was just so much fun. We got from level 1 to 30 in one night. So we were like, right, we've got a hard stop at 9, because Ed had to go to bed, and so we had a hard stop at 9, and we got to 1 to 30, and we were really impressed, and it was just nice. It was so much fun. It was a family affair around Gears of War chainsawing, and it was really funny. We instantly remembered right, okay, we need to get shields, put shields over the door, and all those kind of things. And it was just there's been so many hours of playing Horde on Gears of War 2. Even if just like Nicola and I or other people kind of jumping in, it was so much fun. It was really cool.
Nice. I wonder how far they're going to push this as well, because there's several games I wish they could make a full. I mean, obviously the Halo ones, they've done the Master Chief Collection or so, and I'm sure they'll get a bump at some point in time. But there's a whole host, I guess, BioShocks and Pinata and all sorts of things that I would love to see in 4K. I would be shallow and I would go back just to see how shiny they were.
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, BioShock got that kind of their remaster, didn't they, on Xbox One? But that doesn't run at 4K. I've got those digital, but they've never appeared in my 4K filter.
Yeah.
So, and Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise would just be 4K Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise. That would just be, as we said before, we've got some racing that we need to do, James. We've got some Pinata racing that we need to, we need to do. Yes. Imagine doing that. We should save it just in case it ever comes out in 4K. But I've got a whole garden. I've got a whole Flutterscotch garden but the moment that happened in 4K, I'd be just, that'd be so cool. I'd get Fizzly Bears up the yin yang. That would be just awesome. Look at them; they're beautiful in 4K. So right, shall we? So there's more of this. The Xbox remastering and Xbox OG Xbox games in the news. So let's jump into the news. But before we start, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes and YouTube. So in the news section this week, we have a shocking rumor that Call of Duty will ship without a single player campaign. Battlefront microtransactions reappear, and video games will be taking over the V&A Museum later this year. But the first piece of news, James, is with you.
Yeah, the first one is heading to E3, because quite frankly, I can't believe we're getting round to E3 season already.
Woohoo!
It's only April. I mean, I think there's something that just blows my mind. I feel like we've still just come off Christmas.
Yes.
This seems like the ripples, the aftershocks of the last E3 are still going through, but no, in less than 7-8 weeks' time, we're going to be back in LA, stopping up at ridiculous o'clock to watch some press conferences for games that we can all have opinions on, probably snarky ones.
Or games we'll never see, like Final Fantasy VII and many others.
We're getting to one of those vaporwares later, I guess, as well.
Yes.
So two companies have stuck their head above the parapet. The first one is Microsoft. Microsoft have announced that their 2018 briefing will take place on June the 10th, which is the Sunday. It'll be 1 p.m. over in America, but that will be 9 p.m. over here. So we have Microsoft declaring their hand for lunchtime/evening on the Sunday, and then following on the Monday at exactly the same time slot, so Monday the 11th of June, we have Ubisoft. So two of the big guns coming out to announce their hand. And I guess this is the period where they're going to start. They've probably already been taking press bookings for a long time about behind closed doors, and the theatres have been booked probably since last year to set it all up. But it just, It just feels too soon, Anthony. It just feels too soon.
I love it. I love that everyone is kind of getting out. The thing that I think we said this last year, but the thing that annoys me is that I love that Monday. You know, the Monday where you start with Microsoft at 6:00 in the UK, and then it's Microsoft, it's EA, it's Ubisoft, it's, you know, and then it is just bam, 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 and then it was Game of Thrones, and then you'd kind of then wait for like Sony in like 2:00 in the morning, and I loved that so much. And now it's kind of like you say, I'm sure, have EA as well, have EA kind of announced their EA Play maybe for the Saturday or something like that?
I think something like that. I'll have a quick Google on it, but I think EA have basically said they're not going to be at E3 again. I think they are doing they're doing the EA Play, EA Reveals, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it seems to be far more fractured because you had...
And then Bethesda at some point as well. There's like Bethesda, I don't think they've done theirs yet, but you got Bethesda kind of in the mix too. And I love it. I just think E3 for me is just... It's the best time of the year. It's Christmas for gamers, isn't it?
Here we go. We've got... So EA are on the Saturday.
Right.
Which is 11 p.m. Pacific. That can't be right. It's... 7 p.m. British time. Let's just go with British. I can trust that one. So EA Saturday 7 p.m. Sunday Microsoft 9 p.m. Then it's Monday morning 2:30 in the morning. Bethesda will be arriving.
Yes, I always get up for that. Yep.
Yeah, and then Monday at 9 p.m. British time. It will be Ubisoft.
Wow.
So are you going to get up to the Bethesda one?
I always get up for the Bethesda one. Yeah, I watch it on my iPad in bed.
Oh, yes, I can get up for the major platform holders, but when it comes to like the major publishers, I can quite happy wait for the next day because there's fun to see what they could be doing. Like what's Bethesda going to do now? Is another Elder Scrolls? So they're gonna which big franchise they're going to pull back next? Like is there going to be Rise of the Triad? Yeah, a massive Rise of the Triad reboot at that point in time. But there's something about like the Microsoft, the Nintendo, the Sony about who's going to arrive on stage, which is their big reveals just to get everyone whooping and hollering and set ready to light.
Yes, but I love it because Bethesda are either like 2:30 in the morning. I think PlayStation are also 2:00 in the morning, aren't they? They're normally around that time, and there's something about being up. So PlayStation, I'm still up. I'm downstairs. I've got my headphones on, but there's something about being up at that time of o'clock in England, in the UK, and knowing that there are other people. There's a handful of other equally as awesome and cool people doing the same thing, and there's something, and it's really lovely because you kind of like if you're looking so when I'm watching these, I kind of have Twitter as well, kind of running on my phone or something, and you just see occasionally some people from the UK just kind of pop in, like, and they're doing, and it's just nice. It's almost like this little midnight community that you have, and it's just. I think we did it one year, didn't we, with the Sony one as well? It was just like there was just a handful of people that were just kind of, and it was just so lovely. And that's what I like. I like just grabbing it because I obviously have a problem with spoilers. There's something deep seated in me, which is why I'm going to see Infinity War at midnight, which is why I need to watch these, because a lot of the time if I want to just see the Bethesda thing, you have to go to a website that's probably broken it all down. There's probably thumbnails of all the games that they've released, and then you click on and it just almost ruins it. So there's obviously something about my personality that needs to be constantly surprised. I'm just a man child. My wife would just say, you're just a man child, that's what it is. But and that's why I kind of get up and watch these. But I do just love the excitement of E3. It's just, again, it's one of those things that it's changing, it's evolving, and people are going into different areas. But I still would love to go to E3 because you went last year, didn't you? When you were demoing Sea of Thieves last year.
Yes, yeah, I'd love to go. Actually, I don't know. Having been to enough Eurogamers and Rezzed and Gamescoms as a punter / for the podcast or something, it's intense to say the least. Like there was actually something that was nice being behind the scenes last year, where you almost had this little bubble that you could retreat to if you wanted to.
Yes.
You had your space on the booth, and therefore no one could take it. Whereas if you're wading through it, you are fighting queues, you are fighting just through the crowds. It's an experience, and I really think everyone should go to one of the big shows, because you just realise what a cacophony of noise and colour, and I guess just like even watching people play stuff is as interesting, because it's the new, the latest, the greatest. You know, you're seeing the headlines about it on the websites. I don't know if it would be worth the ticket fee just to try and get over to the LA or so. But it'll be something. It's one to tick off the gaming bucket list, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, I went to Gamescom a couple of years ago and really enjoyed that. You know, I was only there I only went for one day, but I was in Cologne for two, and I really enjoyed, like I say, I didn't play that much, but I got to kind of look at Yanni, I got to kind of see some things, I got to play We Happy Few, you know, there was all those kind of games, and it was Trackmania Turbo. I think that's where I kind of first saw Trackmania Turbo, and it was just so good, and that's why, you know, we love going to Eurogamer, because we go there to try and find those games, maybe not the heavy hitters, your Destiny 2s and your Battlefronts, but we're going for the indies, we're going for that little booth behind a booth, you know, and trying to find those kind of games. And I think and that's what I really enjoyed, you know. It's just, and it definitely, I would love to just kind of go along at the hubbub and go over to kind of LA for a couple of days. And because the great thing about me is I don't get jet lag, so I could just hit E3, do a couple of days, and get home, and I'm fine, you know. It's just like, so where Nicola's like, I won't be, and also she'd be like, I couldn't do it, you know. So I don't think she could do it for like 2 days running, because she would be zonked. But it's just something. It's something that I definitely would like to do. Yeah. So yes. So is there anything that, I mean, the funniest thing that I've heard this week is that there's rumours of like a PlayStation 5. But I just instantly just and just brush that off straight away, because I just don't think we're ready for that yet.
No, I think it would be insane for that to come out, to be honest. It's there. Well, we 4 or 5 years in. Yes. I think we'll be 5 years this Christmas, won't we?
I think so. Yes.
And I just like the amount of R&D. Like, even if we just boil it down to the amount of money they've put in, like they've only in theory just released the Pro, so there's money going into that as well to give the bump. I have no doubt there is another PlayStation being developed, you know, because they always must look to the future, even if it's just like 2 people in a shed trying to bolt on extra memory to the existing one. It's like there will be process going towards that. But the amount of market they have available to them at the moment, they are running away at this point in time. I cannot see why they would try and ruin that. Like, because if like, forget how many they've sold compared to Nintendo or Microsoft. Like, that is utterly, I think, redundant from this conversation, that side of things. They have sold like 85 million PlayStations. You're not just going to jack in that user base for the sake of a new shiny box.
No.
So yeah, maybe in 2, possibly 3 years. I hope it's 3 years, because quite frankly, let's just can we just stay with what we've got? I love the 360 era when it went on for a long time. The PlayStation 3 period where you had that as a stalwart under your telly.
Yeah.
As much as I love shiny new equipment, let's just keep with what we've got.
Yes. But you kind of feel that 2020 is such a momentous year. It's a good thing, coming 2020.
Yeah.
That you kind of feel that there's going to be something in 2020, and it would do. You know, it's a marketer's dream, isn't it? You know, the future is now. It's 2020. Here's the PlayStation 2020 or something, or whatever. And I do feel that we've got maybe a couple of more years, but I don't think we're going to hear about a PlayStation 5 for another 2. Definitely not this E3. Maybe as a one last thing next E3. But then maybe kind of coming this year we've got this, you know, and it's interesting to just see. I think it's kind of when E3 starts to come around, silly season starts to happen, obviously, and people start to speculate. And I think one of the rumours where this came from, it came from a site that had quite an expensive paywall. It was like, we've got PlayStation 5 specs, but you've got to pay £1,000 or something to get these. You know, I think it was something like that. But it's quite interesting to see how quickly that ripples around and how quickly that kind of, and you know, we'll get to the Call of Duty story later, and that's the same thing. It's quite interesting when suddenly you get other sources and other people start, and it's, you know, it's fun to speculate. But back to my original question: is there anything that's coming this E3, or that you would like to see this E3 from anyone, like from Nintendo or?
So the only thing that I'm always rubbish with predictions. I just want Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Like if you ask me for anything, I just would want an Animal Crossing.
What do you think, PlayStation? What's the surprise for PlayStation? You're like, Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, yes.
I had this thought the other day. I was kind of half. It was when I was ill. I was kind of half asleep, and I just had this thought that just imagine if like Phil Spencer and the car salesman that is the PlayStation one, Andrew House or whoever it is. Imagine if they just came out at once. They came out together on a stage and they just announced this joint box as the next box. And this was my fever dream while I was taking lots of cold medicine, was that they was like, I just had to know what happened. I just kind of was dozing, and I was like, wow, you imagine if they just came out, everyone would just go crazy over this. And I think I almost kind of had this. I think maybe it's because I fired up Banjo Nuts and Bolts, because I had this Logbox 720 thing was in my head, because that's one of the stages in Banjo. And I was like, imagine if that was like Sony and PlayStation. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I want to see more of Anthem. Because we got
I completely forgot about that.
Because we got a very quick trailer, didn't we, last year? Which a very Iron Man-ish kind of trailer for Anthem, and lots of diving in and out, flying around. I'd like to see some more of that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the whole thing about E3 is I just like to see the surprises. I'm eager to see what the next Forza's going to be, if we're going to get some more Halo, those kind of things. And then there's the staples. There's the give me a Halo announcement, give me a Forza announcement, but then show me something new PlayStation, show me something new Nintendo, Microsoft, show me something I didn't even know I wanted. Yeah,
and you almost think at this time of year as well, what franchises haven't we seen for a while?
Yes.
What need to loop back around? Yes. And so yeah, Halo, Gears of War, they're on the table at some point in time, because I hope Crackdown's out or something, or at least being announced by that point in time. But
and Below, and Below, that game Below, I want to see that. And then there was that very Blade Runner-ish looking game from last year's E3.
Oh, yeah, yes. I can't think what it's called.
That everyone loved, and then by all accounts there was a bit of controversy over the developer as well, yes.
Yeah.
So it was like, this is amazing, and everyone found out who made it. I'm like, maybe not so much, but it still looked very good. It's those games, and it's those games that we saw bits of last year that we haven't really seen anything of. It's like, don't Cuphead us on this. Give us that game.
Don't Cuphead on
this. and then of course, you've mentioned them. I always love the bonkersness that is the Ubisoft show. We had Mario Cross Rabbids last year, and I just remember, all of us like talking after that, or even during it, was like, what the hell is this? What have they've given Mario a gun, and that game is amazing. I've picked it back up and I'm playing it a lot at the moment, and I just absolutely love it. It's just absolutely superb.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's going to get crazier as we get towards it, and rumours start flying left, right, and centre, especially when Sony announce their dates and what have you.
Yes.
So,
I think the biggest thing that Sony could do, and I'm not sure, but we said this about Xbox as well, but I think the biggest thing that Sony could potentially do would do some backwards compatibility.
Yes.
I think if they could somehow be able to, if they could just dump the streaming and just be able to kind of do some kind of backwards compatibility, even similar to Xbox, I think they would be able to kind of they would win a lot of credit with their fans. I think if they could do that.
I think even maybe a mix of both, because am I right in saying like you can only subscribe to the streaming? Like it's a monthly. I haven't looked into it, because I think when it first came out, like the price and just the utility of it just didn't interest me at all. And I can remember, Darren getting frustrated at what was available on the service and all sorts. But if they just had the system where you could put your disc in and you'd get to stream that for free, even that would be like a conciliatory step towards back compatibility.
Absolutely. I think anything like that would just be, I think a lot of some of the more PlayStation-centric podcasts that I listen to, they are very much like they want to be able to change their name, they want to be able to do some of this backwards compatibility. There are a few things that, if you would be, the PlayStation Pro, it could be exactly the same as the Xbox One X, that if you have a Pro, you put a disc in, it gets enhanced, you'd be able to to do stuff like that, because Red Dead Redemption is available on the streaming service, but it's not Red Dead Redemption running in 4K or anything like that. It's just Red Dead Redemption. And so it would be really good if they could just... I guess they don't want to be seen emulating, but it's a really clever step that all consoles should have now. We should, from this point on, going forwards, whether you're Nintendo, Sony or Xbox, you should be able to put your previous gen games in that and be able to get them to work. I think this is potentially a new precedent that Xbox has set.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think, especially when they go back to the Xbox originals, which I know we might touch upon later. But yeah.
Speaking of Xbox originals, segue. This week or last week, Microsoft announced a new wave of original games that are headed towards the Xbox One. So this is all kind of via backwards compatibility. So we have a whole new load of Xbox original games. So some of them are available as time of podding, and those games are Blinks the Time Sweeper, Breakdown, Conker's Live and Reloaded, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Hunter the Reckoning, Jade Empire, the awesome Jade Empire, Panzer Dragoon Ortara, and SSX 3.
It's a good mix.
That's a good mix. So those ones are out right now, and all of these are... I'll stick a link to the YouTube page, though, the kind of clip that Microsoft put out, because just seeing these originals being played on an Xbox One X, you really do get they go from this fuzzy, messy thing to a really good looking game, to almost an Xbox One game. It's really interesting, especially to see some of the ones that are coming later. I'm quite excited about, but especially to see Jade Empire running. It goes from this kind of fuzzy, almost lacking colour, and then it suddenly gets this Xbox One enhancement, and there's colour, there's clarity, it's so smooth, and it just looks absolutely incredible.
This really excites me because this is the CRT2 digital display switch as well, because so much of the original... In fact, I didn't have a fancy component output for my original Xbox or a VGA connection cable or any of that malarkey. I just had it all plugged into it was a 14-inch TV in my bedroom, by gum. So actually seeing those brought up into a nice high sharp contrast, I think is going to be superb, and especially with the second wave, because this isn't just one wave, is it? They've got another one coming next week.
Absolutely, the second wave that's coming on April 26th. They've got some great games in here. They have Destroy All Humans, so Destroy All Humans, Full Spectrum Warrior.
I love that game.
I love that. It was such a great game, wasn't it? It was
so beautiful, that one. It was a strategic shooter, wasn't it? You had to drag your people around as if they were military figures, but tactically to put them behind cover to make sure they were... It was almost like a more real-time version of XCOM, wasn't it?
Yes, it really was. It was, and you never got to shoot. You didn't shoot. You just placed them where they needed to go and go, right, cover that area. And it was XCOM. It was like Mario plus Rabbids, but without the Rabbids. It was such a great game. And am I right in thinking that this was a game or an application that was actually built for the army? I think it was built for the US Army or something.
I think there was a variation on that. Yeah. I can't remember which came first, but there was definitely something that they used in training, and you can see how they could do so, because I guess it is because you're not shooting, you're merely positioning, and it's the strategic overview, make sure that everyone's safe, that sort of approach to it all.
Absolutely, because I remember a friend of mine, he was in the TA at that point, and when I showed him this, he went completely nerded out completely. He was in the Territorial Army, he was, he went off to Afghanistan, he came back and he saw that, and it was, I think he might have seen this before, but he was just blown away by it. This was this, and I'm sure he said something like, "Oh, this is that game that was an application," or something like that about this game, and it just seemed like it was fantastic. We've never had anything since, anything since like this, or from, I guess the studio's probably shut down now, haven't they?
I'm just quickly on the Wikipedia article, but in 2000, the US Army's science and technology community was curious to learn if commercial gaming platforms could be leveraged for training.
Wow.
So this started out as, as you say, the training tool, but all moving to Xbox and PlayStation about 3 years later.
Was it Pandemic?
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 It was Pandemic, yes.
Yes, I love my brain.
Did they do Mercenaries as well?
They
or was
did,
that someone else?
which is also Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. Second segue. The Mercenaries Playground of Destruction is also in this backwards compatibility list that's coming out on the 26th of April. We have MX Unleashed, Panzer Elite Action, Fields of Glory. That's in Europe only. And then there's a whole...
Even us in Europe, though, don't know what it is.
Yeah, we're all like, what is that?
It's possibly a tank.
Maybe it sounds like it, doesn't it? And then there is a whole batch of Star Wars games. So we've got Star Wars Battlefront 2, not the new ones, the old ones, and then we have Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, and then Jedi Starfighter, and Knights of the Old Republic 2, Sith Lords, fantastic game, and then Republic Commando, which is also a really good Star Wars game.
I am impressed with that, because there's part of me that always is cynical, because you obviously have to, the publishers have to sign up for your game becoming back compat.
Right.
So the fact that Disney or the LucasArts have signed off on all these,
yes,
that's really nice, because I just always have visions of they're just going to make sure that it's tight to their licenses. They are going to use them as like buy-ins and pre-orders and what have you. But I guess hell, it's just like the original Xbox. What can they do with them? So have them all. And I think it's such a nice goodwill gesture a lot, because I'm sure the people who actually play this must measure in the hundreds,
yes,
possibly in the thousands if you're being generous. But the PR win, I think, for this is far outstrips the hours that have probably been put into you playing it once it's done. Absolutely.
I think you're absolutely spot on there. I think that just having those and being able to go back, I think a lot of the time when games like this kind of come out, you do just want to grab your old games from the loft or wherever they are and just pop them in, see that they work, go wow, maybe play them for like 10 or 15 minutes as well, and then they may grab you. You might end up playing it for a whole night, but there's I doubt if there's anyone that's going, God, I wish I could play Panzer Elite.
But you say that, like, I ordered in the last few months I've ordered a few GameCube games off eBay because I've been hankering. Yeah, although I try and keep most of my games, I seem to have been quite lax in the GameCube department. So only a couple of weeks ago I was ordering Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Right.
And prior to that there was I think I actually had to order Sunshine because I'd lost, or my version was scratched on that. So
was it scratched, or did Matt just destroy it?
It's probably just Matt just getting some sandpaper over the back.
This is a terrible game.
But like the GameCube for me was my console of this generation that we're talking about, the OG Xbox, and for others it will be the PlayStation 2. But you can imagine people who this was their console of choice. They are loving the fact that they can, slip the equivalent of Tony Hawk's 3 into a modern console and then just get right back on it. They don't need any fancy switch boxes that I've had to, import to get working on a modern telly. It's like it's just there for them.
Exactly. These games are, if they still have the disc, they pop the disc in and I think that activates a digital copy that they then download, but you have to keep your disc in to just verify it. Or you can go on the Xbox store and buy these for, I don't know, I think they're like $9.99 UK, it's something like that. So you can just get them as cheap as chips as well, and it's fantastic. No, you're right. And then as well as these, they've also brought out, there's also been a batch of Xbox 360 games that have come to Xbox One X, and they've all had a 4K bump. And this was one of the reasons, as I was talking about earlier, that I've been playing Gears of War 2, because Gears of War 2 got a 4K bump, as well as Darksiders, which is a little bit interesting because they already have the remastered edition out, but Darksiders got a bump. Gears of War 2, as I was saying, Portal 2 has got a 4K bump. Now, I'm desperate to go back to Portal 2. I was, even the other day I was thinking, I need to play some Portal again. We haven't had, we were never going to get Portal 3, so I was like, I need to play Portal 2 again. And now I'm just
how about some 4K co-op? That sounds
that just
amazing.
Sounds awesome, doesn't it? It just sounds like oh god, I love Portal so much. It was such a great So all you need is your disc. Have you got your disc, James?
Somewhere.
Was it online? Could we do it online?
Possibly. Oh no, Portal 2 was. I can remember playing co-op with Matt.
No, that was it, because I remember Nicola and I having 2 copies.
Yeah,
and we
saved it. Like, we didn't play the Portal until we could play it co-op.
Oh, really?
It was quite special.
Oh, we need to do some co-oping. And,
nice.
And then, so Portal 2, Star Wars Force Unleashed as well, so the first one, so which was Kyle Katarn? But the very first Star Wars Force Unleashed, which was a great game. And then the most important in all of these is Red Dead Redemption has been given a 4K bump. And I have to say, and again, I'll stick a link to some of the comparison videos that Microsoft put out. Red Dead Redemption looks pretty special. You know, the core game, I don't know if they've done Undead Nightmares as well, but the core game of Red Dead Redemption really looks good. You know, it looks bright, it looks sharp, it looks fantastic. You know, obviously, if there was a glitch in the game, that glitch is still there because they haven't remastered it. They've just re-resed it. They've just up-resed it to 4K. But it looks incredible, and with Red Dead Redemption 2 potentially coming out at the end of this year, it's a great time to just kind of jump back in. You know, if you haven't finished Red Dead Redemption, or if you haven't even played it and you want to be a part of the zeitgeist later on in the year, you know, this is a fantastic time to just jump into Red Dead Redemption because it just looks pretty cool.
Yeah, this almost strikes me again for like the PR point. Like when they put games onto, you know, Games for Gold or PlayStation Plus, this is the, hey guys, Sink your teeth into this, and then we've got something even shinier coming down the pipeline.
Yeah,
but
exactly. It is just one. I mean, it's quite funny because when Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced, everyone thought there would be a remaster of the original. You know, it's just like or Red Dead Redemption, and they were saying that everyone thought, come on, you know, bring out a remaster, and there was a lot of call for that. And like I say, you can stream it on Sony's PS Now. You can stream it, or you can play it in 4K. On Xbox backwards compatibility. So if you still got that in your shelf, you can just take that game down and off your pop, and you're playing it. It's just too good. It's awesome.
It's good. Long may it continue.
Absolutely, and that is not all. In a true E3, tradition, we've got one more thing, which I snuck in, and that is that the Halo Master Chief Collection is also getting an Xbox One X bump later on in the summer. So the Master Chief Edition, which has had its problems, is still a little bit buggy. But on Halo Waypoint, they announced that they're going to release a new patch in the summer for Halo Waypoint, and this includes a lot of the P1 and P2 bugs, so the high priority bugs are going to be fixed in there. But it's also going to have Xbox One X visual enhancements, HDR and SDR calibration settings, more LAN support as well. So we've got some LAN parties going on, and also improvements to networking and matchmaking as well.
Nice.
So I'm just like, it just keeps going, you know. And this is all the stuff that Microsoft are getting out before E3. You know, this is we just announced this now. You know, these are not even kind of E3 announcements, and I just think these are all good just to kind of get that hype train going, kind of into E3. But it's quite interesting. When I was playing Gears of War, I was chatting to my brother-in-law, and he was saying that he's just starting to play the Master Chief Collection with Edward as well, because he's never played Halo games, so he needs, you know, rite of passage. He needs to play all the Halo games. And you know, the Master Chief Collection is a great way of doing it. And now with Xbox One X visual enhancements as well, there's never been a better time to jump into Halo.
Because I went back to play Halo 3 when that got the 4K bump.
Right.
And that was the 360 version.
Yes.
And honestly, as much as I enjoyed it, I spent most of the time trying to figure out what my controls were.
Right.
Just because I think the games have evolved so much over the years.
Yep.
So like the actual the standard first person control layout, that I honestly couldn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. For the first level, I was just there like running backwards and forwards, going, no, that doesn't feel right. Should the melee be on this side? Should the zoom be on this button? So I almost might stay away just to try and keep my sanity with that.
But I love it because in the Master Chief Collection, 1 and 2 have been remastered. So 1 and 2 are the ones where you can press the back button and you go between old graphics and new graphics. So having the new graphics, which all look shiny, will now be 4K. Mm-hmm. They're just it's shiny on top of shiny.
Shiny on top of shiny. The shiniest of them all.
The shiniest of them all, and that's the title for this week's podcast. So the next piece of news, James, is with you.
Yes, it's a slew of new games. We've just spoken about a lot of bumps,
yes,
I guess. It's not remasters, they are bumps. But yeah, the first one is Castlevania. We have announcements from Konami that there is another Castlevania. However, a couple of caveats to this. One, it's exclusive to Japan.
Wow.
And two, it's a mobile game.
Oh.
So everyone please temper your expectations accordingly.
Oh no.
So it's called The Grimoire of Souls, and it's set in a future where Dracula has been completely destroyed, but there is a letter sent out to one of the protagonists saying that he could be resurrected, which I think is pretty standard for Castlevania games, isn't it? It's either you've got to kill Dracula or you've got to stop him from being resurrected.
Yes.
So yeah, that is on the horizon. There is not much out there at the moment. There's a few screenshots, and it looks like a traditional sort of side-scrolling Castlevania game, as you'd probably expect if it was on the phone. It's not going to be a massive 3D version, and it looks good. It's like 2.5D. There's lots of monsters and item management. I'm sure there'll be some loot boxes tucked away in there as well, because it's a mobile game.
Yes.
The next game out is Serious Sam. The Crow team have announced that today, that Serious Sam will be coming at some point this year. Hopefully we'll find out more at E3. But I can always remember Serious Sam being such an antidote to most of the usual first-person shooters. I think when the first Serious Sam came out, it was very po-faced, the rest of the genre.
Yes.
And so when you have, giant, I can't remember, was it scorpions riding at you? You've got people with bombs as hands running and screaming, and it was just frantic because they threw dozens and dozens of enemies at you at the same time. So it was just wave after wave of madness.
And I remember last year they had a Serious Sam VR as well, didn't they?
Oh yes, yes,
which must have been bonkers, like you say, having that kind of wave and wave of enemies coming at you, but in VR.
Was that VR with a VR gun as well? Because I'm sure I can remember seeing at a show someone doing that demo, but holding the equivalent of some sort of massive chain gun.
Oh, that was EGX.
EGX,
yes,
that was it.
Yes, that was Eurogamer. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that was hilarious.
So yeah, maybe that tech has actually been put forward into, maybe not the VR itself, but maybe the rendering tech has been put forward into a new game. That sounds good. And finally, for the high-profile announcements of releases, it's Shenmue, which I know there's a few squeals in our own little gaming circles about this.
Yes.
So Shenmue 1 and 2 are being re-released. Yeah, sorry if anyone got excited about an actual release date for the vaporware that is Shenmue 3. I think they're still hiring for that. So I think they're still ramping up. So it sounds from that alone like it's going to be a little while off yet.
And every time they show a demo, the like Ryu just has dead eyes, doesn't it? It's like they haven't done the animation yet for it.
Well, you know how they have options occasionally of having Japanese or Western voice tracks. I'd love if they have a traditional Shenmue option where dead eyes, just animation or dead eyes. That's it. Those are the two toggles you've got.
That's so cool. Live eyes or dead eyes.
But Shenmue 1 and 2 will be coming later this year to PlayStation, Xbox One and PC. They basically say, the graphics will be updated and you got the option of modern or classic control schemes and what have you. So, I guess this will get some pocket money for the dev team.
Absolutely. I can't wait for this because I'm quite excited about Shenmue 3. I played Shenmue 1. I was a big Shenmue 1 fan. I started playing Shenmue 2 probably halfway through it, and I don't know, maybe we switched console generation or something happened, and I never finished 2. So I've got to go back. I wanted to go back before 3 came out just to kind of play it. And I think what they were saying was that previously they were going to have almost a previously on Shenmue movie that you could watch before going into 3, but now actually being able to play it, this is awesome. This is fantastic, and it's also going to have modern controls as well. So I don't think it's going to have any kind of remastering or any kind of graphical bump, but they're also going to have the option of the original Japanese soundtrack and modern controls.
It's good. It's good. I never had a Dreamcast at the time,
right.
So this completely passed me by. I can remember hearing the legend of it with my friends at the time, but it's not the kind kind of thing you can just go over for an evening and experience.
No.
So it never really got near me.
No.
I know there are forklifts and I know there are sailors, but that's where my education on Shenmue
That's
finishes.
about it. I always remember once I was playing it, and like, just that, a friend kind of came over, oh, what are you playing? And you try to you go, I'm just going to continue playing this, and you're running around the streets, going to an arcade, getting very excited about getting a can of cola, and they're just looking at you quizzically going, what are you playing? And,
it's like someone watching you play Animal Crossing
Yes.
and that be explaining it's like, why are you shaking trees, you madman?
Yes, it's exactly that. But it's I cannot wait. I cannot wait to jump in and kind of play a bit of Shenmue. So hopefully that'll come out. Like I say, we have no release date yet for Shenmue 3, so it's going to come out with plenty of time for us to play that.
Yeah, I think it's going to come out with a bundle as Final Fantasy VII. So yes.
So never. So the next piece of news is with me, and this is gaming culture news. I'm very excited about this because this September, the Victoria and Albert Museum in London are going to be opening its first ever dedicated video games exhibition. So come September, I think it's running from September until the end of the year, and it's going to be running from there. So it's called Video Game Design, Play and Disrupt. And it will feature games such as Journey in this autumn exhibition. It's celebrating artistic craft and culture impact of modern gaming, the announcement says on the Victoria and Albert Museum website. So this looks like it's going to... I'm very excited about this, and James, you must be, I guess, Ali as well, kind of must be quite excited about kind of a video game exhibit coming to the V&A.
Yes, I'm going to be very intrigued on the avenue they take this, because I think it's the V&A that have had a resident developer before, and I think she was exploring more narrative. I'm sure it's something to do with strawberries. That's all I can think. There was something to do with strawberries. So they've had the track record in this, that they are definitely, I think, one of the more proactive classic museums, shall we say, that are recognising digital mediums like video games as something worthy of putting in the gallery, which I think is awesome. And it's not just the video game artwork.
No.
Which, it's going to be great that there is going to be the displays of, the concept art, the lovely visuals that you can get within games. But to acknowledge it beyond the visual, I think is superb.
Yeah, absolutely. They said there's going to be some prototypes, and so you said like design work, concept art, prototypes that feature alongside large-scale immersive installations and interactives as well. So it's going to be interactive. There's going to be ginormous screens on the website, which I'll stick a link to on the show note. You can now book tickets already. They have a lot of No Man's Sky art as well, but you just imagine kind of like a ginormous kind of installation with that just playing, like No Man's Sky playing. Yep. That would be absolutely fantastic, and it just
would it, Antony?
It looks lovely. It's a bonkers game which is coming to Xbox as well soon. I don't think.
Oh yes.
I think that's kind of skipped our weeks of not podding. Our week of not podding, but it's coming to Xbox.
Yeah, I know Matt's excited by that. Matt is still on the No Man's Sky train.
Yes.
And, I hear it's improved a lot since the early days. So maybe I'll get over that one day.
Yeah, maybe. I just know. It's just like, so it's going to be. So I'm quite excited about this. I definitely kind of want to go and check it out. So, like I say, it starts on the 8th of September. So it starts on 8th of September. They do have some kind of preview nights. You can go onto the website now. I'll stick a link into the show notes. You can book tickets. They're £18 each, and it's running from September. But they don't actually say until. But I thought I read somewhere that it was until the end of the year, which is normally kind of a good term, isn't it, for exhibitions to kind of be there. It may even move on around the country after that. But this looks like this could be incredibly exciting. So I'm quite looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, have a day down in London.
Yes, indeed. Five Guys.
Fantastic. And so the next piece of news is with me, and it's Star Wars Battlefront, this time on the modern consoles and not on the OG Xbox. But it is the return of microtransactions with Star Wars Battlefront 2. So anyone who has probably listened to any gaming website, podcast, news feed, or even just gamers shouting from afar, probably realises there was a bit of controversy just before Christmas with the way that EA and Star Wars Battlefront 2 handled their microtransactions. This was the loot crate that broke the camel's back,
yes.
I think it was, just because of... I guess just how much it required luck. And I don't know, you played it, didn't you?
I did, yes. I played through the campaign and also the additional story, and played some multiplayer as well.
And did you find yourself... I guess you didn't buy many loot crates at all. You were using the in-game grind. But...
Yeah, absolutely. Going through the campaign gives you lots of loot crates, and going through the arcade mode, you get lots of crates to like unlock and give you power-ups that you need. So I didn't spend any more, but I can see why there was the controversy and the uproar happened about this game.
Yeah, looking back on like the data about the frequency of like the good drops or the amount of cards that came out of these packs you'd have to burn to truly get some good upgrades, it was either expensive or a long grind.
Yes.
And so over the last few months they've spent some time rebalancing the game, which I think is nice. It's actually showed when they ripped out the game that it had some tweaks to get it back on an even keel. And now the transactions have come back in a far more... I like these style of microtransactions because they're purely aesthetic as far as I can see. They are cosmetic unlocks that you can grind away for 100 matches if you want to buy a Kylo Ren scar, or you could spend about a £5, maybe £8 to get it just instantly. If you want to spend that much on a Kylo Ren scar, that's entirely up to you. But it's the principle of it's just cosmetics. You're not hiding any of the characters away. It's not hiding any of the upgrades away. It seems to be far more on a traditional microtransaction keel. Yeah,
absolutely. And like I say, as you said, if you want that, if you want to be dressed as a pink Boba Fett, then that's what you want, and it's up to you to pay that money. But it's not giving you a leg up. It's not giving you OP guns. It's not giving you rocket launchers that will take everyone out. It's just purely cosmetic. So like you say, these are loot crates that I can kind of get behind. Overwatch did the same. It was all just cosmetic. So your character, you had to, if you're invested in this game, having a character dressed the way that you would like it is perfect. Is exactly how they should be doing it. And it kind of makes me wonder why they're doing this now. I know they did when they took microtransactions away at Christmas, as you were saying. They did say they might come back, that we're revisiting them. They never said, and this is obviously what they were talking about. But I wonder if, because EA have got a license with Star Wars, I wonder if they had to make good on Star Wars Battlefront because there's a licensing deal that's in balance here.
I think it's partly that, but also partly for themselves to fair enough, there was the controversy, but they've got to leave this in a reasonable state.
Yes,
they couldn't walk away with it as the I guess the trolling Reddit feed cesspit of hate that it was at this point in time. And so people are always going to complain that you could buy stuff.
Yes,
but it seems like there's a balance because it says on the details we've got in front of us, you have to play roughly 100 matches to unlock the Kylo Ren with a scar. Wow. That's his face, his skin. But that's like an epic. That's like one of the high tier costumes. And 100 matches. To be honest, in some Rocket League, I've knocked up almost thousands of matches. So if you're into a game, you can do that. Yes. So I've got no qualms with that. A high tier one, grind away if you want.
No, absolutely. That's exactly it. And I think if you want to make your character the way that you want it, then that's the way to do it. And you, like you say, you have that option. You can pay $5.99, or you can just pay 100 games. And if this is your game, there are some people that are jumping on the Battlefront every night. Yep. This is their game, so that's much better for them than the other way. And of course, I guess they, as well as that Star Wars license, they've also got Battlefield will be coming out this year as well, because they alternate. So no one's going to want to buy a Battlefield if Battlefront was broken. So I can see kind of why this is happening now.
Have you ever bought skins, just visuals, in any of these games with real money?
Yes, I've done. I think I've done some for Rocket League. I've done some for Rocket League. I've done some for other games as well. Yeah, absolutely. There, the Xbox avatars. I bought a Batman T-shirt for my avatar. There's something quite nice about having that personal that personal look. That's my character. I'm trying to think. There was a game where I did put some money into it. Go, yeah, that's fine. It's only £3. I can just buy, that T-shirt. I can just buy that outfit.
Yeah, that's the level I go for as well, because I think I've spent the odd £3-4 on Rocket League if there's a nice car or a suitable skin on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I bought the Jurassic Park shirt, as you say, for the avatars where they were everywhere on your dashboard. So, especially with the cheaper or free-to-play games, I still consider that like the tip jar.
Yes.
We've spoken about this before, but I am willing to pay money if I've enjoyed a game for dozens of hours, even like 10 hours half the time. I'm thinking like, can I give you a few quid for it? As I feel like I want to give them something at that point in time. So the aesthetics, the skin, the decals, I'm happy to drop some cash on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite interesting because I love that analogy that you have of that, and that is just such a great way to look at it. Because I was talking to a friend the other day, we were both using this free piece of software, this freeware on our Macs, and the software actually has a donate button. So I've kind of donated, like I just gave them £10 because I've been using their software all the time. It's fantastic. So I'm like, here you go. Here's a tenner because I didn't pay anything for it, but yet this is a really good piece of software. So here's some money for that. And it did feel like that tip jar. And I now remember as well the game that I kind of did. Surprisingly, it was Batman. So all of the different outfits, like kind of the Batman outfits, where you can get the Dark Knight outfit, the Frank Miller's Dark Knight. Just playing an Arkham game, kind of just. I think it was definitely that I kind of just went, yeah, it's $3.99 for this Batman skin pack. I'll buy that, and then just kind of have that. And so yeah, no, absolutely, I do. And even that was a full price game, but these guys were doing something a little bit different. They were doing something special. They were doing something incredibly geeky, incredibly nerdy. And if it meant that I got to play this game in my favourite Batman outfit, which then transcended later as I got to play as a Batfleck in the latest one, which was absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
So yes,
cool.
Indeed. And then the last piece of news is with me, and this one's a bit of a shocking one, especially for me, because I do like the single player, but there are rumours circulating around, various rumours from various sources such as Polygon, Kotaku, Eurogamer, that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 will ship without a single player campaign this year. So, it's like I say, it's all rumours that just kind of started on a Polygon website. It started on Polygon, it started on a news item there, and then suddenly Eurogamer kind of popped in, and others were like collaborating, saying, just saying, yep, we've got sources as well that are saying that as well. And then one source said that as the release date's approaching, it's become evident that the development of the single player campaign wouldn't be completed. So they are basically going to be shipping heavily focused on zombie mode and multiplayer mode. So this is, I think it's Treyarch this time around. So Treyarch are basically, and with Call of Duty, they have a 2-year cycle. There's three studios all making a game, so you kind of like, it's a rotation of 3 studios. So they've had 2 years to make this game, and they've now got to that point where they're saying, we're not going to have a single player for October, because I think they're coming out in October rather than Red Dead November. And they're like, right, we're not going to have a game, so they're going to be shipping for the first time in a long time a Call of Duty game. And again, these are rumours. Activision have said they don't speculate on rumours, and they have an event on the 17th of May where they will announce and release information about the next Call of Duty. But at the moment, they're keeping very tight-lipped.
I find this interesting on a couple of levels. One, that this has started sneaking out at one point, but also the fact that they would be happy to do this must mean they are confident that the multiplayer user base of the last few Call of Duties is still so strong that it can survive on that alone. Because we know the campaigns are like popcorn. They're like 6 hours, like of just blast through and away we go and hand it back. So the fact they know they can survive on that shows they've got a strong confidence that they are still relevant. Because I guess that the Call of Duty has been such a part of the woodwork for almost the last decade, isn't it? That it becomes a cliche that, here we go, it's autumn, here's another Call of Duty. Oh, the players are lapping it up. And I guess it's almost like League of Legends. I mean, obviously nowhere near the numbers, but League of Legends was so big for so long and barely anyone paid it attention in like mainstream circles. And you almost feel like Call of Duty is exactly the same, where it's going with such a large user base that it just sells on its own reputation at that point in time. So the fact this campaign is literally neither here nor there, is not going to affect it at all.
Yes.
The interesting point that I want to find out is how much they will charge for this. Do they think they can still charge the $60, the £45 for this product if it's just multiplayer?
Yes.
Or are they going to do something absolutely, bananas? And as we were just talking about previously with Star Wars, can they do a Fortnite? Can they do a PUBG and go free to play and like just sell? Obviously, if they can get 40 quid from everyone to play their game, and then people will buy skins on top of that, there's going to be no question about what they're going to do. But
well, it's interesting that you say
it's like one step towards that.
Exactly, it's interesting you say PUBG and Fortnite, because another source called Charlie Intel said that there are rumours that Call of Duty is going to include a battle royale mode.
I would not be shocked.
I
would not, because there's stories this week about Battlefield. Is it Battlefield? Which one's Star Wars? Star Wars is Battlefront.
Yes.
And so Battlefield, the World War II one, this time round, I think. Yeah, there's rumours that's going to have one as well, and I'm not surprised at all.
Yes.
Because it's the new hotness.
Yeah.
And it can. I think it fits well with Battlefield. I question whether it would work as well with Call of Duty because of how many hoppers they have active. But hey, if you're going to do it, now's the time.
Exactly. If you can get 100 people on a map, it all airdropped in Call of Duty, that would just be that would be fantastic. And maybe they are banking on that, saying, we don't need a single player. You've got this, and this is, like you say, it's the new hotness. This is what we need. Everyone needs a battle royale mode. So we're doing zombies, we're doing multiplayer and battle royale. And because I did wonder, like last year, I think we kind of had this discussion when Call of Duty came out, and I do play that Call of Duty single player game. I play that all the time. I play it. I used to take it back to game. Now I just rent it from Boomerang. I enjoy that kind of Jerry Bruckheimer kind of movie. But I wonder, at one point I thought I was wondering if they would start breaking away, that you'd have a Call of Duty single player and then a Call of Duty multiplayer. Like I say, £20 for each, or 25 each, then you would kind of pay for that. So you just buy your single player campaign and that's it. But now seeing them kind of not ready. So has this been that they had something, but it wasn't ready, and they've got to this point in the development cycle going, we can't ship that, it's too, we tried to overreach, we tried to go too far and it's not worked, we're going to have to scale it back, and then they're going to make me a battle royale mode instead, and they're quickly putting together, they've still got 6 months left of. So what are we? It's October, so June,
that's
July,
August, 6
September.
months, maybe 5 months of dev time. Yeah. Can knock a few out by then. It'll be fine.
Exactly.
It'll be fine. But I wonder. I don't think they will be able to split them, though. Honestly, the amount of budget that went into their single player campaigns, like when Kevin Spacey, when other Hollywood actors have lent their face. That what's the chap Harnett? From Game of Thrones. Though I'm sure that doesn't come cheap, and even though it's only 6 hours, the amount of production values, the amount of environments you blast through, quite literally, in that 6 hours, they are not cheap games. You can only think that so much of the money brought in from the multiplayer side is put towards that, and I don't think it could justify it in the same way. You couldn't sell that separately. You couldn't sell it for 40 quid, that's for sure, in my mind. And expect the same audience pickup at that.
But it's incredible. I just think if this happens, it's like I say, I think the article said, I think it's the 18th of May or the 17th of May, they have a Call of Duty event where they're announcing the next Call of Duty, which we all know is Black Ops 4. But what's Black Ops without a story mode? Because the Black Ops story mode is bonkers and incredible and great. It's
just the guns as seen in Black Ops.
Yes, exactly. It is just. But maybe Black Ops means something different now, and that is Black Ops Battle Royale. They morph the logo into some kind of Battle Royale, like 100 player.
Maybe that's what's happening with Animal Crossing. Maybe 100 villagers enter. Maybe this is why we're waiting for this.
Oh man, an Animal Crossing Battle Royale game.
Oh, we know what would happen there. 100 villagers enter, Tom Nook leaves.
Yes, that's it. Every time. But I do like the idea. I do like the idea of maybe I should just stop there. I do like the idea of playing a battle royale game, but with the Call of Duty guns, because they are, as much as I love PUBG, as much as I like PUBG, free to play this weekend on Xbox. As much as I like PUBG, the guns don't feel as weighty or as fully formed as maybe the Call of Duty guns. So you imagine playing a AAA version of PUBG, I guess is what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah, it's still a genre that has completely passed me by, but that's my lack of want to play online shooters more than anything else.
Yes, exactly. Right, that's about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening. James, thank you very much for pulling up a mic.
Pleasure as ever, sir.
Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook. On Twitter, we're at LostSparkPod. You can find us on YouTube and also Gamers of Lost Spark, PS4 Community and Xbox One Club. James, where can people catch up with you?
People can find me at Big Sheep on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo.
And on Sea of Thieves. And for me, I'm Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Right, that's about it. Say goodbye, James.
Bye-bye.
Bye!
Someone's been having too much grog.